This is Lorenzo, and this is the Training Design Taxonomy video series, lesson number 4. It's on our 3 training modalities. These 3 modalities are the foundation for any complete exercise program and allow us to express all 5 of the body's physical skills. Let's take a look at each of them now. So for our first training modality, we have metabolic conditioning, which can be defined in the following way. A monostructural training discipline, unique in its ability to express and develop hip-dominant, cyclic power, think cycling, elastic speed, think running, sequential strength endurance, think rowing, across various energy systems, phosphocreatine, glycolytic, oxidative, which can be measured in seconds or kilometers. The operative word here is unique because metabolic conditioning modalities are unmatched in its capacity to develop these skills as compared to other disciplines such as bodyweight training or weightlifting, because those modalities don't really help us develop speed and endurance in the way that these exercises can. Now, whether you're running, cycling, or rowing, they'll all help you develop speed and endurance, but specifically, each of these modalities offer distinct advantages. So for example, what makes cycling unique is that number 1, it's low weight bearing. Unlike running or rowing, cycling provides constant tension. Unlike rowing, but also in running, cycling provides us with the opportunity to work on imbalances so we have lateral balance. And finally, cycling is great for developing cycling-specific speed and endurance. Running, on the other hand, is high weight bearing. Unlike cycling, which is cyclical in nature, running is more about providing intermittent unilateral force transmission. Running is also superior in helping us preserve power as we age, and more specifically, it is great for allowing us to develop top-end speed as well as running specific endurance. Rowing is low weight bearing. Rowing is neither about cyclic power or elastic speed development, but rather about sequential strength endurance. Unlike cycling and to some extent sprinting, rowing is 50% hip drive character and 50% upper body strength endurance. And finally, because of its sequential nature, it is superior in the development of anaerobic power as well as aerobic or glycolytic endurance. Moving on to our second training modality, we have gymnastics as a practice, which can be defined in the following way. It's a bodyweight training discipline, unique in its ability to express and develop total body mobility, core stability, and upper body strength, which is typically measured in range of motion for mobility, seconds for core stability, how long can you hold a certain position motionless, and finally, for strength, how many reps can you do for a certain given movement? Again, the operative word here is unique because gymnastics as a practice is unmatched in its ability to help us develop mobility, core stability, and specifically upper body strength. Will metabolic conditioning disciplines help us with our mobility? No. Our core stability? No. Strength? No. Will weightlifting training help us with our mobility? To some extent, yes, but not to the same extent as gymnastics. Will it help us with core stability? Not really. Gymnastics help us to develop core stability. Weightlifting is where we use that stability. Is weightlifting superior in helping us develop strength? In some cases, yes. If it's lower body, hip dominant strength development or overhead pressing strength development, then yes. But when it comes to developing the most complete pulling and pressing strength balance, bodyweight training disciplines such as gymnastics or calisthenics takes the cake. And as we saw in the training routines taxonomy video series, we developed 10 gymnastics routines to help you master your total body mobility, core stability, as well as upper body strength. Examples include the front split, which we did in the balance track, the side to side squat in the shift track, posterior chain mobility, stability, and strength, such as in the bridge track, anterior core chain development, such as L-sits, leg raises, and here, as we can see, the body lever, lateral chain core development, targeting the obliques, as we saw in the lean track, working towards the human flag or the side lever, dynamic bent arm pulling strength development in the horizontal plane, such as in the row track, dynamic bent arm vertical strength development, such as in the pull-up track, dynamic bent arm pressing strength in the horizontal vector, such as the push and the dip track. And finally, dynamic bent arm overhead strength development, such as we saw in the invert track. Moving on to our third and final training modality, we have weightlifting as a practice. But for our purposes specifically, it's a barbell training discipline, unique in its ability to express and develop hip extension, posterior chain, and overhead strength, the performance of which is measured in terms of body weight multiples expressed either in pounds, but in my preference, kilograms, but also repetitions. Now, while gymnastics for me is superior in developing upper body strength, weightlifting is superior in developing lower body strength. And as I mentioned, where gymnastics is great for directly developing core stability, it's in our weightlifting practices where we will be applying that core stability. And while you can develop pulling strength with things like deadlift, cleans and power cleans, rowing and pulling, especially weighted rowing and pulling, is superior for pulling strength development. And finally, while doing a handstand push-up is more impressive, developing overhead strength is more accessible for the average person doing it with barbells. So for those of you looking to develop optimal hip extension power and lower body strength, look no further than the back squat as well as the leg press. For those of you seeking to develop superior posterior chain strength and power development, look no further than the lift complex as part of our training routines taxonomy video series, as we see here with the deadlift and the hip thrust. And finally, for those of you who want to develop maximal overhead strength very quickly without learning first how to balance, such as with the gymnastics inversion track, then look no further than the press complex, allowing you to develop optimal overhead strength either with a barbell or with machines. So in summary, we have three fundamental training modality domains, such as metabolic conditioning practices, bodyweight training disciplines, gymnastics of which is the highest standard, in my opinion. And finally, weightlifting practices, of which barbell training disciplines I think to be the most universal, accessible, and useful. If you learned that each of the training modalities will help us develop all 5 of the body's physical skills, but in different, unique, and disproportionate ways, then you learned what I wanted you to learn, and I hope that was helpful.